Here, here we go with the second half. We've made it past the halfway point, and we have more Wayne Shelton with us. We've been having a great conversation. We've heard some really cool tips and tricks. But now, Wayne, what I want to do is I want to dive just a little bit more in the weeds because I really believe that most people don't use a consultant and might not know what to expect. So, can you walk us through a little bit what your process is, pretty much A to Z, start to finish, with how you even find clients and, of course, close out services with them when they're all done?
Yeah, it's really interesting. We don't do any marketing for this type thing. What we do is we go to a lot of conferences, and a lot of times we have done so much public speaking already. People recognize us and will come up and say, "Hey, tell us about this," and we get kind of started down the process, and they hear about our successes and they want to do the same thing. So that has worked out really, really well. And like I say, we don't do any advertising. So it seems like the business kind of comes to us. And there are so many people in this profession, in my opinion, that need to go a different direction. The industry has changed dramatically over the last 40 years, 40, 50 years, but it has changed significantly in the last 5 to 10. Everything is totally different. So what we do is after we do find somebody that is interested in our services, we will find a time that's good for them, good for us. And what we want to do is we want to come to their shop. We want to see what their place looks like. We want to talk to their staff. And we feel like that's a really important part of it because the staff is the key to success in this. Because if the staff is not on board, it doesn't really matter. So what we do is we go and meet with them. We sit down for 2.5 days of very intense discussions. Then we will usually go to dinner with them for a couple of 3 nights, and then we'll answer questions for another 2 or 3 or 4 hours. That works out really, really well. We have some things that we intend to go ahead and cover, but what we always run into is unusual problems when we get to a place. Like everybody's got their own unique set of problems, and we try to address those and let them give us, what those are and have an opportunity to try to address them. But in our prepared stuff, what we will do is we will actually, as if we're doing tax planning, and we do management, leadership, that type thing, but we also do advisory maintenance. And when we're doing that, we will sit down and actually go through an actual presentation, just like they were clients. We'll do meeting 1, we'll do meeting 2, we'll teach them how to price it, we'll teach them how to answer questions because there's always a number of questions that people have during these presentations. So we work with them very closely, and we've even offered, and we've done it several times, is we will meet with their clients if they want to see how that we do this. So that is something that we're always available to do, even later. If they want to get us on a Zoom call and meet with a client, we're perfectly happy to do that. And like I said, one of the things we are trying to do is let them understand what their real value is. And if they don't appreciate and really do understand what their value is, they will not be able to express it to a client. So the delivery of the services is a lot of fun. It's very intense, and a lot of times it brings up a lot of things that people are kind of uncomfortable talking about.
I like that a lot. So let me see if I summarize this accurately. So it's a very organic method of how you identify your clients through an existing network, prior other speaking engagements, and then just the discovery of pain points and starting a conversation. And then what you're telling me is the advisory process that you actually teach people to do is the same process that you use to deliver the advisory consultation to the client that will be doing the advisory if the audience is tracking. So you would sit down with a meeting 1, which you don't charge for, and huge information exchange. And then meeting 2 is the actual ideas of like, here's your custom plan for how we're going to coach your firm based on your needs. And then you said you go on site for 2.5 days. And usually there's 8 or 9 hours of formal classroom time, we'll call it, with all staff members and getting everybody on board. And then there's additional organic conversation, dinners, meals, things like that. So they're getting a little extra bang for their buck.
Right.
And then there's follow-up after that, 6 months or 12 months, and they have a consistent line to you. So you don't just swoop in there, do something really cool, and then ditch them. you hold their hand for the next 6 months to a year, or even longer in some cases. And that's the exact process you do with your tax advisory clients.
That's exactly right. You know, we hold their hand through the process and make sure that they do everything right. Same thing here. We want to make sure that they're successful. We tell them how to get started. You know, don't start with your toughest one, start with an easy one. We teach them how to convert existing clients over. And the nice thing is, we are helping people. I mean, that's what this is really all about, because when you come in to tell somebody you have been set up incorrectly by your prior accountant and it cost you $25,000 this year, those are fun. You know, I've had some people that were ready to fight their prior accountant because they had just done them a bad job. So that's just part of it.
So a lack of care in most accountants, unfortunately, we've discovered are what we call tax factories, and they just take numbers and they crunch them. They don't ask a lot of critical questions. They just take the assumption that you know what you're doing and they plug the numbers in, and that's failing a lot of people. And what you're saying is the care, the help, the true result is that you've served and changed these people. So dialing into the next question here, who actually benefits from your consulting when you go and teach them how to change their entire mindset methodology of being an accounting firm or some of these other businesses? Who benefits?
Well, let's start with the client. The client definitely benefits because they are going to get something they've never been offered before. They're going to be asked questions they've never been asked before. For example, accountants using the old tax factory method never ask a client, what are the problems you're having in your business? They've just never been asked that. So when you ask that, that really gets their attention. Now, who else does it affect? Everybody from the partners on down to the person that's sweeping the floor, because everybody in between is a part of the process. You know, we have a team model and we have 4 people on a team, and everybody on that team is very interested in helping the client. And the clients get that. They understand that that's what you're there for. And what we have seen is the staff members, particularly the fairly new ones, they love this new method because they get to get in front of clients quickly. They get to learn things quickly, and they get to have an opportunity to speak if that's something that they're interested in doing. So it helps everybody from the top to the bottom and on the outside as well.
I like that a lot. So I know you've mentioned in the past telling some stories about how some third parties were affected. You know, they were able to make new relationships because they changed their style of service, and they're able to recruit financial planners and insurance people and start joining a larger network of service because they now understand their value and other people want to attach themselves to that value, and they help their families with better work-life balance and revenue, and they help their communities with better businesses established in the community and more room for and time for charity and donations. So that's pretty impressive stuff. So what do you do more specifically after you leave that initial client consultation where you're there for 2.5 days? What's the process after that?
Well, one of the things we don't want to do is just drop people. We don't want to just swoop in, give them a whole bunch of stuff for 2.5 days and just leave it with them. So what we tell them, call us anytime you want. If you have a question or a problem, call us. And usually we will set them up so that we have a specific time for like the next 12 months, and we'll have a call in and a checkup, and we'll give them homework, and they'll be following up with it and that type of thing. So it works out great. They get a lot out of it. And what we want to do is make sure that they have everything they need to succeed.
So a lot of really good ideas and plans fail at implementation, and you're preventing that with consistent monthly follow-ups to make sure that when they hit their first hurdle or two, they don't just throw their hands up and quit. They have you there and your team there to hold them accountable, hold them through, and encourage them, and continue to give them consultation and tips to basically ensure it's going to be successful.
Yeah, that's right. It's just like going to the gym. You know, if you could try to go by yourself to the gym, it's going to be a hard. If you have a partner that you go to the gym with and you feel lazy one day, you're going to say, I can't let my partner down. So, it's the same thing. We're there to help them succeed. And from what we have seen, they get it real quick. And it's just like a light bulb goes off, and it's very exciting.
That is exciting. I think really changing people's businesses and ultimately lives is very exciting stuff, and I'm glad you're able to do that so successfully. So Let me ask this. So now let's get to the very end. We've been talking A to Z. Let's talk about Z. Now the relationship has concluded. You've got successful consultation up front. They've completed their 6, 12-month, whatever longer period, and they've got it. They're just flying on their own now. Everything is really good. What's the wrap up? What's the process like to say, hey, we're done with your service and you guys get to carry on in the future? How do you just end the relationship as far as the formal paying services?
You know, they may not have us on retainer in the future, but we are always there to answer their questions. So this is more than just a short-term, a year project for them. You know, we will run into these people at conferences. We'll have an opportunity to talk to them on anything if they have any questions. Matter of fact, we always get something from the way they do things differently than us. So it's an exchange both ways, and it is not a short-term thing. This is a lifelong project, in my opinion.
So you get lifelong friends, lifelong peers to rely upon, and really, it's a beginning of a beautiful relationship, as a famous movie once said. So, Wayne, that is incredible. Thank you for sharing a lot of that process in talking about consultation. If people really like what you have to say and they want you to do it for their business or for their accounting firm or for any of their teams, how does somebody find you?
We have a website, Shelton and Associates. I have an email, wayne@wsheltoncpa.com. We're easy to find, Paducah, Kentucky.
Gotcha. And what's the phone number at your office in case they want to call the front desk and get a hold of you?
270-442-6688. And we love helping people. That is a lot of fun. That's one of the things we enjoy meeting with our clients. So it's just a lot of fun for us.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I love everything you said tonight. And for everybody else sitting there watching, we've got one more segment to go, and it's going to be a doozy. So sit tight, buckle up, and we're going to finish the night strong. We'll be right back on Pivotal Change.